The land on which Us Soliscent Seeds is set, written, and produced is the unsurrendered and unceded territory and traditional lands of the Wolastoqiyik, Mi'kmaq, and Passamaquoddy, known collectively as the Wabanaki. This territory is covered by the treaties of peace and friendship, which the Wolastoqiyik, Mi'kmaq, and Passamaquoddy people first signed with the British Crown in 1725. The treaties did not deal with the surrender of lands and resources, but in fact recognized the Wolastoqiyik, Mi'kmaq, and Passamaquoddy title and established the roles for what was to be an ongoing relationship between nations.
This program contains violence and mature themes and is intended for a mature audience. Audience discretion is advised.
Playing episode 3 of Us Soliscent Seeds.
So excited to announce our next guest. She is a sex-positive tech wizard and CEO of her own multi-million-dollar company. Not only that, she is cyber tech royalty among those in the know. Her sister Joan was, prior to her passing, head researcher for governmental initiatives to prolong the life of our slowly, sadly fading planet. Together, the two pioneered a new era of artificial intelligence before Daphne stepped away in sight of a new direction. Coming fresh off of her book tour and most recent appearance on Celebrity Big Brother, please welcome Daphne Blythe.
Thank you for having me. The pleasure is yours.
So, I heard you just landed in Pearson.
That's right.
How was your flight?
Horrifically boring. They wouldn't allow my row-hos a seat in first class, so the poor things had to sit in economy with who knows what. I'll have to have one of the pool boys power wash them once I get back to the hotel.
Now tell me, what exactly is a row-ho?
Well, what isn't a row-ho? They are lovers, companions, expert sandwich makers, sex toys extraordinaire. Put bluntly, they're not your grandmother's Ken dolls.
Can she say that on the radio?
They are my company's newest creation, Joe. I've spent nearly a lifetime revolutionizing how the modern guy, gal, and non-binary pal live. Now I'm revolutionizing how they
Moving on. I recently had the chance to read your book titled Crazy, Sexy, Me, which is out now nationwide, and I must say it is a gripping read. You convey the reality of familial trauma with such great tenderness and humor. Writers should take a master class from you.
You want to make more money? You like money? Wear a suit.
Put yourself together. But on a more serious note, I was truly shocked to read some of the stories you divulged from your childhood out on the East Coast, especially to do with your late mother. What was your relationship like with your mother?
She was complicated, as are all women, I suppose. Not much of a hugger, not to us kids anyway. But we loved her regardless. And in turn, she gave us the cruel mercy of her erasure.
Rather cold words?
Cold words for a cold woman.
And what about your sisters? You wrote rather humorously of Katherine and Esther and the summers you would spend vacationing by Atlantic coasts.
Are you a stalker or something?
Inquiring minds want to know.
Katherine and Esther were always good fun. One summer in our youth, Katherine had escaped out from mine and Esther's clutches, and in that time she fell by this patch of rocky shore. To this day, I don't know how long she was face down in that water, but when she finally came to, she told me about how she met the Earth's soul and it taught her how to paint the rocks with wine. In reality, she had bled from her head all the way down the shoreline. That was how I was able to find her. Surprised a shark didn't. They've been coming into the bay more often with the waters warming. Bet those rocks are gone the way of the submerged shore. All slimy and red like dull seaweed.
In your book, not much is really said about the other and more famous Blythe sister.
You want to know about Joan? Dull, bookish Joan? Mind if I read a passage from my book? We have a story in our family, dating back to our great-grandmother. She was blossoming, beautiful, and brilliant for a human. So much so that even the earth envied her at the end of his dying reign. To level the playing field, for all the sentient beings on his flooding shores, he cursed her with a melancholy that could never be cured, but echoed and resonated. A sonic warning, the kind that leaves a stain like wine on hardwood floors or blood on river rocks. Once my great-grandmother realized this, she filled her purse full of stones on a shore vacation and carried it out into the ocean to meet him. When my mother realized the same, she locked her 4 kids in the back of her gas-guzzling Chevrolet and disappeared into a dingy motel, only to veer out of our sights and out of the city on the back of a hog with a man she barely knew. The women in our family disappear into fogs and other earthly hangs. It's only a matter of time, space, and other immaterial forces, beyond the reach of my book, Crazy Sexy Me.
Breathtaking.
Wrote every word.
And I must know, is that why you're such a coward, Daphne?
What?
Is that why you buried yourself in urban coils and haven't been home in years?
How did you...
You're afraid of us, so you ran away.
I'm not afraid of anybody.
You're afraid of how the land might swallow you whole.
Stop.
Who's next?
Stop!
Oh, Rojo, you shouldn't have run off.
Nothing I can't fix, with my little helper dweeb at my side.
Look at the state he's in.
You used to be the same when you were younger.
Knotted in cords of leaves and vines.
Lost. Do you still run off without telling Esther? Pass me the pliers wrench. After the divorce, she still checks in on you, I presume? I don't get the calls, so I don't... Well, she hasn't invited me to her house for tea or coffee or family dinner since I've been in the province either. Do her kids still get their lunches, meal prepped, teeth brushed, hair did, shining and studious? And her place, bet it still is brand spanking squeaking clean as her body count.
Is this the pliers wrench?
Shining silver star for you!
You're different when you're in work mode.
I'm busy.
You're nicer.
No, Esther's the nice one. Nice, kind, domestic, tight and put together, right?
Do you want to be right? She calls me a lot, yes. But not to check in, just to... Well, I don't think she wants me to tell people how much she cries and...
Pregnancy hormones? From baby 3.0?
I would know, so...
Breastfeeding the family curse into another generation of girls.
Curse?
I guess I forgot that you don't read books. My book.
But I like stories.
And I like secrets. Hand me the bracing bit.
One tool for one detail.
You're such a loser. Fine. Fun tidbit of info for you. Since the dawn of time, women in our family go the way of a tidal bore, splitting off from the current into an alternate dimension. Dun dun dun!
All of them?
Esther and I had this pact to not have kids. It was this whole thing. Refused to speak to her for years when her first was born. Gimme tool, please.
And you all just left me out of it?
Didn't figure the pact would apply, doll.
Thoughts echo in my head so much. I don't feel in this dimension sometimes, I guess. About Joan, about the world, about improbabilities and melting ice.
Congrats! Existential doom unlocked. Listen, I was just checking up on our pact-breaking sister. No need to...
To see if the curse has set in?
Don't make me tackle you for that bracing bit, bitch. I can't oscillate between the family drama and repairing my product over here.
Has it set in with you? I'm not the only one with the messed up brain, curse or otherwise, right?
Do you want to be right?
I...
Just because you're lost doesn't mean you have to dig and dig and dig like there's some truth hidden beneath it. Some of us like the dirt.
And there's not? There's no truth?
Life's
at
a
the
fucking...
base?
No. life's an illusion.
So we just let everything outside ourselves rot into goo?
And party like it's 1999, bitches!
That's so irresponsible.
Esther's had her influence on you, I see.
You think there's a difference between Esther having kids at the end of the world and you ignoring it all into dumb robotic obscurity?
Maybe that numb robotic obscurity is the realest thing some of us can feel, Kath. If you ever came to visit, I'd show you. Every city corner is a bright light advertising some fake distraction from the world going to shit and families crumbling apart. Every corner is another fake ass faking their asses down the street in some pent-up trousers. Everything is already a stinking goo of melted connections, and it's all so monotonous. Nothing to do but embrace the artificiality, doll.
You're inviting me to Metropolis?
Kath in the big city. Fuck. If word gets out that my engineering attracted some stupid vines to burrow themselves into my roho, sales will plummet.
Flowing energy is all that anything will be, stripped to the base.
Trauma and time fuck up that flow. But I can trace his memory banks. Follow his steps. Hand me the spud wrench, doll.
This?
Never mind. I revoke your shining silver star.
Ah! Wait, please don't slay me, please!
What's happening to him?
Trip the wires. It's looping its last memories.
Don't slay me, please! How unnatural you are! A house with tentacles, probing, lusting, just a little green death.
I've never seen this
its
happen
way
before.
in.
Must be an error in its receptionary
Please
center.
For too many clients to please. I've never been felt like this before. I've never
God,
been
shut
held
up!
Like this
Listen to
before.
him, Daph.
I've
Katherine,
never-
find me the table saw.
Katherine?
Feel the cool, wet grass between your toes. Taste the fresh water of the trees. Meet with a beautiful stranger bearing your face in a reflective stream. Greet him. Like family, like
Katherine,
relations.
what are you saying? Get your hand out of him!
Wet pine needles, tilled soil, feasting worms, a microcosm beating, swallowing each other and becoming more. But there's something I can't quite wrap my fist around.
Katherine.
If I stretch my fingers further, I think I can almost touch it. Yes, I can barely scratch it with my nail, touching that soft spot past the guts, the stomach, the lungs, the heart.
Katherine.
Reach up into the neck, the mouth and the nose, resting my fingers behind the eyes like a pick mushing gray matter into slurry. It's pulsing, intoxicating. Does it hurt you when I touch you like this?
Enough!
You killed him!
Obviously, he was malfunctioning, like the inside of your wacko brain.
Broken things beg continental shifts, Daphne.
Then keep him. Fix the world by yourselves. A premium roho on the house and an odd little girl against the entire human race. Ugh, fucking idiot. Fuck out.
Ew, fucking idiot. Gross me the fuck out. Ew.
Katherine, is there anything I
Shut
can do
up.
for you? Would you like me to call your emergency
Wouldn't you be
contact?
better suited for a field planting daisies like Joan programmed?
The initiative's boss did not arrive in time for Joan to transfer my programming.
Then take Daphne's and let the weeds grow over for all I care. Hearth?
Katherine,
The moss growing down my arm from the roho?
running faucet.
If I let the moss grow,
Yes, Katherine.
would my body become its host?
Some people may believe this is
Who?
true. I am unable to answer your question at
Aggie?
this time.
The people living around here? The people from the clear-cut fields and the regrown wetlands hidden from the roads? Hearth, talk to me!
Katherine,
And if I let it crawl down my arm, where would it stop?
some would believe it would not.
Across my chest?
No,
Up my throat into my chin?
No.
Brushing past my lips?
No.
Filling my nose, shutting my eyes?
No.
Would it consume me? Should I let it? Eggy once told my sister that there's other ways for humans to grow instead of growing over. Would it enter me calmly? Investigating all that I am until I'm limp like Daphne's robot splayed out on the front lawn hearth? Or like Joan on the living room floor? Where would my thoughts go? Would you grow roots in my brain?
Look and see.
Inside the Rojo's head? A single flower.
Unfurling its petals.
Waking up?
Or reciprocity in disturbed soil.
And this would happen to me.
One surefire shot at the truth, kid.
Kid. Earth, what's going on?
I am unable to answer
You were literally programmed to answer. Earth, I'm not done talking. What's actually happened here?
I am unable to answer.
Who the hell is Agartha, and how come Joe never mentioned her on our calls?
I am unable to answer.
What the hell is the compound, and what do they want from my tech-hugging sister?
I am unable to answer.
And where is she now?
I am unable to answer your question at this time. Something has gone wrong. Please ask again in a few minutes, and I will be glad to serve.
Earth? Play the memory of Agartha and Joan meeting.
I have already played you the memory of my programming.
Before that. I know you have the file stored somewhere in your broken head.
I'm Joan. Shh. My father will hear you. Oh, okay. I just moved to the cliffside and... Nobody from the capital is supposed to be out here. I was hoping someone could...
Before that. Before that. Are Daph and Joan saying goodbye?
This image of all of us, as tight-knit and under the weighty hands of lost time, these bonds are far past untethered, Kay. We've grown up.
And Mom has just floated from your heads? Before! Katherine! Before! Where's Mom going?
Like the trees.
When will she be back?
Like the leaves.
Will you leave next?
Shh.
Katherine.
How do you know all of this?
Cattails. A major actant in the ecological filtration system that are the wetlands. Pulling from waterlogged soil both natural contaminants and the pollutant byproducts of human existence.
Earth?
When you're as close to it as I am, you realize that the land is healing itself. Slowly, carefully, in patterned detail, absorbing time, lifelines, and us. All there's left to do is let it.
I don't understand.
What if I could reunite you with your sister? Forever and always. Joan.
Heading out so soon?
Cat's an ass.
You're just figuring that out now?
Is my Dior coat in the closet?
Can I ask you a favor before you leave? A favor and a question?
No.
Dee.
What? I just want to get out of this hellhole.
Dee, come here for a second.
But you stink.
It's this so-called hellhole that stinks. Rotting from the inside out. Speaking of which... Here.
An autograph?
Paths, actually. You can forge better than I could.
To transfer the title of the house to your name?
To demolish this effing house of bones and the trauma it has for that girl.
We'll finally go our separate ways.
Come, sit down.
Title transfer.
Sign here. This house is condemned. It was never meant to be a home. Only a temporary lab for Joan and her experiments. Before you go, and initial here, I wanted to ask, initial, is there a position at your company that monitors purchases that maybe, sign here, maybe transfers purchasers' information towards those that customize your robot prostitutes and etc.?
Initial here?
Yes.
And yes. Although I would appreciate you not comparing sex workers to my rojos. Real people and toys are different things.
Daphne, I couldn't care.
And in any case, are you begging your little sis for a new lease on life in the big city, E? There is a position like that. Tech can do a lot, but a human brain still exceeds at communication.
Who is that person? Sign.
Like the name of the person?
Sure. Or sign. The job title. The relative relation to you as CEO. Daphne?
Sorry, just making sure I understand the fine print.
You're the person.
Sign here?
You're the one that saw my husband's name requesting a blonde teeny bopper of a Oreo.
Rojo, sex toy extraordinaire.
And sent the specifications to the manufacturing plant.
We get a lot of orders in a day, hun.
One does not simply forget the name of her sister's husband.
Fair.
Fair?
Fair. Are we good here?
When Mom left, I kept us fed, clean, and respectable despite the rumors. I even paid for your first few months of rent while you were off living out your dreams in Toronto. And what do I get in return? Indignation. What did I do to you to make you so selfish?
You don't always have to be the victim, hun.
Then why did you sign the forms to get my husband a fuckbot without telling me?
Confidential.
My ass. Go ahead and run back to your dream life, but please give me this one parting gift. Daphne!
Fuck, E. I could tell you that I saw your husband's stupid-ass name. I could tell you that I didn't pass the forms along, but instead drove them to the warehouse myself. I could tell you that I didn't hand them along to the manufacturers, but hid them until after hours when the lab became my playground. I could tell you that I set to work late in the night, sewing each of my own strands of hair into that fuckboy's head for your husband. Modeled the row hole after my... But it wouldn't answer your question of why. Because nothing would. Mom, Joan, Kath, you, me, we always thought the other would be more stable and sane than ourselves. Mentally, life-wise, made a pact on it. Until one blows their brains out, another grows a fungal cerebrum bending over backwards to find out why, and the other going out of her noggin and denying the obvious truth that the why is always there, coiling deep in each of our hearts. The end of the world never looked sane. Not for us, not for ours. We weren't built that way, hun.
Denying the obvious truth?
Kath?
Joan left the house in your name, doll.
But I have it all sorted out now, girl. It's all...
Sorted?
She practically forced me to forge your signature. Hand over the deed.
Forced?
Sorry, doll,
Forced.
but I've got a jet to catch.
You are so manipulative.
My work here is done.
Show me the documents.
Now, listen, my girl.
I want to see the documents. The deed and the will. Did Joan write them?
Everything will be all right.
She left the hearth to me for a reason.
By this time tomorrow, it won't matter anymore, kid.
I'm not a kid.
There's already a demolition crew coming. Daph was just leaving.
See you, doll.
I'm not a doll.
So breathe. Flower and fungus, my girl.
I'm not your fucking little girl. The hearth has been sharing secrets with
God, here we go again.
Joan would never have killed herself if it wasn't for Agartha's influence.
Those are... remember what they taught you about grounding yourself in reality.
Joan wouldn't have left absences if she didn't want us to fill them in.
Fill it all in then. Like the dozers in the morning over this condemned trauma house.
With me, buried deep in it.
Katherine! The pillow fort. Tear it down.
Esther? Esther, what the fuck is that? Esther, did the house eat her?
In your book, not much is really said about the other and more famous Blythe sister.
What do you want me to say, huh? You lunatic, this is not in the questions I pre-approved. Did my agent put you up to this? Well, screw it. Can't let dead air rest? Yes. I wish I could walk up to my famous tech-smart, better-than-thou sister and tell her, "Oh, my dearest, dearie Joan, Esther hates me, Catherine's a head case, and I'm still the most fabulous and beautiful of the Blythe sisters, as per usual." Nothing has changed much, really, even with you gone. No, nothing ever changes. The world goes on in pretty little eccentric circles around my head. But somehow, my dearest, dreary sis, your disappearance has brought us Blythes closer than ever before. Gag me with a spoon. Honestly, Mr. Hostman, I thought the curse had skipped past us, but here Joan is proving old wives' tales correct, called back to the soil. You know, out of all of us, I thought that she was the one that would make it out till the end. She always had this way about her that just screamed well-adjusted and bare feet, while I'm strutting in 10 inches only to distance myself from the mud. To be honest, I was a bit jealous. But that was then, and this is now. I'm stepping high and exceedingly alive. She is dust mites. Oh, that's a good line for my next book. Better write that down before I forget. To all inquiring minds, Mr. Hostman, we were sisters. And despite it all, we loved each other. Now that it's all over, I regret not knowing her better later in life. It's a shame, really. Period. Send that to the presses. Maybe there is something to this whole lost before their time thing. How dull.
End of episode 3 of Us Soliscent Seeds.
This episode features
Brianna Parker Tarasco as Katherine Blythe.
Bronwyn Mosier as Esther Blythe.
Cersei Kane as Agartha.
Kaylin Adair as Joan Blythe and Hearth.
Kayla Osachek as Daphne Blythe and Rojo.
Madigan Donovan Downs as radio host.
Created by McKenna James Boeckner and Carlee Calver.
Produced by McKenna James Boeckner and Carlee Calver.
Directed by Neomi Iudit.
Audio engineering and editing by Rebecca Tinsley.
Special thanks to CHSR Radio and the University of New Brunswick's English Department.
This project is supported by the New Brunswick Arts Board. Cet projet est soutenu par le Conseil des Arts du Nouveau-Brunswick. Us Soliscent Seeds is an eco-horror audio drama airing on CHSR Radio. Follow us on Instagram at us_Soliscent_Seeds.